All right, this is going to be your Q&A test number 1 at 120 words a minute. Proper names are Mr. Hunt. Do you remember what you were doing that afternoon?
No, I don't.
Did you talk to your brother about the incident?
I don't remember.
Did you talk to your uncle?
I don't recall.
Have you talked to him about this incident with Mr. Hunt?
I don't know.
Did you talk to him in the week following the incident, the 7 days after that?
Yes, I did.
What did you say and what did he say?
I can't remember those conversations.
Do you recall that Mr. Hunt had a problem with his hip
Right.
and the job that you guys were doing was a demanding physical job? Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Demanding enough, I suppose.
You have to be physically fit to do it.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Hunt was complaining about his hip throughout that week. Isn't that correct?
No, sir.
He didn't complain about his hip.
No, sir.
His hip was okay. Is that what you are saying? What I understood your testimony was when your attorney was asking you questions was that Mr. Hunt came to work and that his hip was bothering him, that he was walking slow,
Right.
and that he had problems in that next week. He was walking slow for the next week.
I don't recall any talk about an injury before that.
I'm not talking necessarily about talk. I'm talking about your observations. You said you saw him walking slow when he came in for work.
Thursday morning is the first time I saw him walking slow.
That's the 14th, right?
Right.
My question is, how about on the 15th? Was he walking slow on the 15th?
Yes, sir.
Was he walking slow on the 16th?
Yes, sir.
Was he walking slow on the 17th?
Yes, sir.
Was he walking slow on the 18th?
I believe so. I told him to stay home on the next day.
Because you were probably concerned about 2 things. One, that he was walking slow, he might get worse. And 2, that he couldn't produce like you needed him to if he was walking slow.
He was getting work done, but I didn't like to see him hurting a lot and carrying on like he was.
Did it bother you?
Yes, sir.
So you told him to not come back to work until he saw a doctor?
Yes, sir.
So you as much as fired him.
He wouldn't see a doctor.
Who was there when you fired him?
Who was there?
Are you the person who fired Mr. Hunt?
I'm the one that decided I didn't want him back on the job.
Right. Did you tell that to him personally?
No, he wasn't around.
Who told it to him personally, if you know?
I don't know that either.
Do you know what day it was?
No, I don't know what day it was.
Do you know if he was told why he was being fired?
No, I don't think he was told why he was being fired.
When did these meetings take place with all the employees?
I don't recall.
What time did they take place?
I don't remember.
Where did they take place?
I don't recall.
Do you recall in what specific places these meetings took place?
I don't remember.
Do you recall what was said?
I don't remember now. Just for anybody to be careful.
Did you give something to the employees at the meeting?
I don't recall now.
Do you know where Mr. Hunt is today?
I don't know.
You don't remember much at this time, do you?
I don't remember a whole.
Okay, this will be Q&A test number 2 at 120 words a minute. Proper names, Mrs. Dice, Main Street, and Park Street. Since this accident happened, you have not been able to do that washing and ironing job.
No, I haven't been able to. No.
Why is that?
Well, I got hurt, in the accident. And I had a big bruise on my leg, and it was infected, and I had to keep my leg up. The doctor advised me to.
Any other bruises?
I had a big bruise here, and my head still hurts, and so does my leg since the accident.
Have you tried to do the washing and ironing since then?
No, I haven't.
Would you like to do that if you felt good enough?
I don't know whether I am able to anymore or not. I just don't feel as strong as I did since the accident.
I understand. I can hardly believe you're still driving.
Sure, my eyes are fine.
Had you been at home before you drove down to the city building?
Yes,
Had you driven any other place that day?
no,
Where were you going?
we were going after Mrs. Dice's food stamps.
Who is Mrs. Dice?
She's the lady who makes her home with me. She's 91.
Does she live in the home?
No,
Same home?
no, she lives with me.
At the address that you gave?
Yes,
Where was the place where you get those food stamps? Do you remember?
I don't remember. We weren't too far from it. I don't know just exactly the address. It's close to that mall there. I remember that.
Near the mall?
Yes, it's this side of it.
Was there anyone with you when you had the accident?
Mrs. Dice.
Who was driving your car?
I was.
Where was Mrs. Dice?
She was sitting next to me and to my right.
Do you remember the route that you took to where the accident happened?
Yes, it was on the right side of the street.
Just a moment. Do you remember the route that you took from your home to the place where the accident happened?
I don't remember real good.
Do you remember coming to Main Street?
Yes,
Do you remember whether there's a signal light at that street or not?
yes, there is.
Do you remember what color the signal light was?
Yes, sir. See, I had pretty good luck. I was going through green all the way.
All right. The light at Main Street was green.
Yes,
Had you seen that signal light turn to green? Do you remember?
yes. I entered on green. I was driving about 30 miles an hour.
Now, how far was it before you got to Main Street that the signal light turned to green? Do you remember?
Well, it wasn't very long because I know when I entered it was green.
Have you seen the light turn from red to green?
Yes,
Do you remember about how far from the intersection you were when you saw that turn to green?
I was right there when it turned green.
Okay. Now, when you came to Park Street, do you remember what color the light was there?
Let's see. Must have been green because I remember not stopping because I was just going slow and I just went right on through because it seemed to be green.
Sometimes you are lucky that way.
Yes, you are.
So when you got on the avenue, you were going south on the avenue. Now, do you remember the signal lights being green and you didn't have to stop?
No,
Do you remember about how fast you? Okay, this is going to be your Q&A test number 1 at 100 words a minute. We have Silicone, Mrs. Patterson, and Dr. Marino. We've reviewed the record. We've found no reference to the story in which you pulled out the parking lot in front of a car. Did an accident result as a result of that event?
no.
Why don't you tell me what feelings you attribute to your clinical depression?
I'm sorry. I don't understand what feelings you're referencing.
All right. Well, you've mentioned that you felt willing to pull out in front of an automobile. Were there any other feelings that you felt during the time frame in question that you attribute to depression?
I didn't realize I was depressed. I had never been depressed in my life. To this day, I cannot give you an explanation of clinical depression. All I know was when I related that story to the doctor, he said I was clinically depressed.
Do you blame your feelings of fatigue on depression?
No,
Do you blame weight gain to depression?
no.
Do you blame sleeping problems on depression?
To depression, I attribute those things that I was going through at that time to the silicone implants. The implants were taken out. That is gone. You explain to me. You tell me how I wasn't sick. I had the implants put in. I started having problems with the implants. When they were removed, one of them was ruptured. It just happened to be the right side that was hurting so badly. You explained to me how, after those were removed, the pain went away if the pain was not caused by what was in my body at that time.
Mrs. Patterson, I'll ask you again. Did you attribute any sleeping problems to depression?
I don't know if you'd put them to depression, which came first.
Did you attribute any memory loss to depression?
I don't know which came first.
Other than Dr. Marino telling you that you were depressed, are you able to provide us any information about how you felt while you were depressed?
I felt like any human being would at that time who couldn't get out of bed to go comfort her children, who couldn't be a part of life in general. That's what I experienced. I felt like I was going through hell, is what I felt like, just as you would if you weren't able to get out of bed and do what you wanted to do in life. That was robbed.
Mrs. Patterson, at any time between 1993 and 1995, did you have periods of improvement?
No, not periods of improvement. No.
So, did you just get worse?
It got regularly worse. Yes.
Have you earlier told doctors that you had lengthy periods of improvement?
I have no idea.
Have you told people that in the summer of 1993 you felt better?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Would you tell someone that if you got constantly worse?
I might have. When you're that sick, you get tired.
Okay, and this will be your Q&A test number 2 in 100 words a minute. Proper name is Oregon. When you were stopped on the median looking at traffic, did you see any traffic approaching at that point?
I saw cars farther down the street at the next signal.
Let me ask you this question. You testified you hesitated at the median to look for traffic, right?
Yes, I testified to that.
You say that when you hesitated, you observed some headlights.
Headlights farther down the street.
How far away were those headlights?
They were a good distance from me.
Was it more or less than 1 block?
You could say approximately a block.
It was approximately a block away.
I would say about a block.
Which lane were the lights in?
It was the same lane I was standing in, this side, approximately here.
Let me ask you this so the record will be clarified. Were they in the lane nearer the median or the lane away from the median, or were headlights in both lanes?
It was the lane I was occupying when they hit me, actually, right on the corner, the very corner.
Which lane was that automobile in that impacted you?
It was in the right lane, right on the corner of the store.
It was on the right lane of Oregon Avenue.
Yes, it was.
I understand that you got off of the median. What pace did you proceed at? Were you walking, running, jogging?
I was walking. I was cradling my baby.
So you got across the left lane of Oregon, is that correct?
Yes, I'm crossing. And eventually I got hit. They say I let my baby go and I went down like that. So it had to be on the right.
On the right side of your body, correct?
Correct. I believe that is correct.
I'm trying to find out about the lane that you were hit in. I understand that you maneuvered across the left lane of Oregon. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Eventually, you were impacted over in the right lane. Isn't that correct?
Right by the store.
That was in the right lane of Oregon Avenue.
Correct.
You said that you saw some cars about a block away when you were stopped on the median, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Did you observe those cars at any time after that and prior to the accident happening?
Close to me?
Correct.
No. I saw it far from me. However, when I was crossing, I don't understand how it came that fast.
So the final instance that you saw any cars prior to the accident was when you were on the median. Is that correct?
Right, when I was crossing extremely close to the store.
So you were on the median when you last observed any cars, correct?
Correct, before I crossed.
Now, the automobile that actually hit you the last time that you may have seen it was actually 1 block away. Is that correct? When you were standing on the median.
That is right. The cars were a block